ways to do some interesting things that Magic is unable to do. You'll notice here one of the things here is that my opponent and I each have a different portrait here with different starting life totals. So the portraits are not just cosmetic. We each have what's called a champion, and the champion kind of determines, it kind of lets you have information on like what shard your opponent is playing. So like my opponent's champion is Ruby, so I know they're going to play some kind of Ruby cards in their deck. And on my side, I'm playing a mid-range control champion, which for 7 charges, so basically every time you play a land, you get a charge, which is nice because when you flood out, you kind of have something to do still. So basically every 7 lands I play, I get to create a divination or an oracle song to draw 2 additional cards. Another thing that Hex does, because they're not bound to a paper game, is that Hex uses a modified opening hand algorithm. So the opening hands in Hex are not completely random like they are in Magic. What they do is they use a modified hypergeometric distribution to eliminate the 10% most resource light hands and the 5% most resource dense hands you could generate. So basically everyone in Hex mulligans 15% less, because you have the bottom 10% where you have to mulligan because you have no land, and the top 5% where you have to mulligan because you have 6 or 7 resources in your hand are far less likely to happen. You can see when my opponent played the card there, I was able to respond. There is a chain in Hex, so when your opponent plays things, you get a chance to respond to them with cards that are quick. So there's a lot of back and forth play and counter play. I'm going to play this resource out here, and when I play this resource, I get to choose between my 2 different colors here. I'm going to choose a second Sapphire. I'm going to play this Lanupaw site, which is another simple but powerful use of the digital design space. So what Lanupaw's site does is it's kind of a 3-cost delayed draw 3. It modifies 3 cards in my deck. So the next action, which is kind of like instant or sorcery, resource, which are like our lands, and troop, which are like creatures, gain the line of text when you play this, draw a card. So basically, I'm going to have 3 extra draws over the course of the next few turns. The resource was kind of like a Tundra because it only makes one or the other. So when I play this, I have to choose either Diamond or Sapphire, and then it only makes Diamond or Sapphire for the remainder of the match here. So in Hex, when you play a resource, it just kind of adds the resource to a total resource pool, so you don't have to fumble around with like activating specific lands and whatnot. So now I have a decision to make here. I could play this Silver Talon Adjudicator, but this card's a 3/2 with Flight that says deploy, which means when it comes into play, yeah, it's kind of like fetching for an untapped basic. This says, if they have more life than me, I gain 5 life, and if they have more cards in hand than me, I draw 2 cards. So I have 5 cards to their 4, so if I play this, I wouldn't draw cards, and we both have 23 health, so it would just be a 3/2 flyer, which is not why I'm playing that card. So let's just go ahead and pass the turn back to my opponent. Impulse. Draw 2 cards. They get at the end of the turn. If this is in your hand, discard this. Sure. Combat in Hex is identical to combat in Magic, so my opponent declares attackers. I get to declare blockers. I'm playing kind of a mid-range control deck. So this card says whenever my opponent plays an action, they gain a charge. So basically, as they play their actions, they're going to work towards their champion power here. And what their champion power does is it creates 4 new cards called Swamp Gas, which deal 1 damage and then immediately let them draw a card, and it puts them into their deck. I'm going to go ahead and Runebind my opponent's Arena Regular here. Runebind kind of takes their card and slides it off to the side. They're fireballing me in response. Oh, that's pretty good because they have that, which lets them gain a charge, and when they gain a charge, these deal a damage to me. It's pretty decent. Since my opponent's already played a resource for the turn, I'm going to go ahead and Into the Unknown this. This returns the card to my opponent's hand and then turns it into a different Ruby card. Go ahead and play this Wall of Purpose here. Draw a card from that. So these still don't draw me cards because my opponent only has already have 4 cards in their hand, but this does gain me 5 life when I play it out now because I have 16 and my opponent has 23. So I'm just going to play this as a 3/2 flyer that gains 5 life here. Impulse to draw 2 more. So the rune that this turned into lets my opponent replay the card when they draw some resources here. Hex has been around for a little while. They were kickstarted, I believe, 3 or 4 years ago, and they took the beta tag off into an official release. Midnight Fervor. Gain a resource for each different threshold you have. Interesting. In the last year, though, so I became interested in Hex because they started ramping up their competitive play after they came out of beta. So, Hex has a $1,000 cash tournament that you can play from home every single weekend. They also have a $5,000 cash tournament that you can qualify for by playing on their free-to-play constructed ladder. My opponent is kind of going off here. They're making charges and then playing things that draw cards. I'm going to block this Phoenix. It's not fantastic because this Phoenix says they can get rid of 6 actions in their crypt and return it to play. So, like, it's a temporary fix. But I really don't want to take 4 from it. Gonna play this. Do I want to just Silver Talon Adjudicator this turn? I don't think I do. I think I want to just pass the turn here. This Into the Unknown can return. Oh, that Runic card. Nope, that's actually in their deck. It's not the Into the Unknown one. Runic Missile, yep. Fireball, yep. Might just get burned out here. Opponent didn't bring their Phoenix back into play. That kind of sucks for us. That's the End of the Unknown one. Okay. I'm going to the End of the Unknown this just to get it out of my hand. Chat, with the 13-month resubscription, welcome to the Raichu Sub Club. I do appreciate the continued support. Welcome back. So, I could Transmogrifade this Blamsmith to let me draw cards with this, but then I don't have the Transmogrifade for his Phoenix, but I think I want to draw 2 cards. Mostly because I'm greedy. So playing this puts me down to 1 card in hand, which means this gets to draw cards. We drew another Phoenix. So they didn't bring their Phoenix, or we drew another Silver Talon. They didn't bring their Phoenix back last turn. They could have missed it, or they could have just been playing around Into the Unknown. Either is very possible. Please kill your thing. God, that's so unlucky. So this card destroys a random troop in play, and if it kills their own thing, it goes back to their hand. So the bird comes back now. They have 6 actions left in here. 1, 2, nope. So if we take this off the table, it's not going to come back again. At least not for a little while. Runebind is decent. Yeah, I'm going to put a non-resource on top of my deck here, and then I'm going to go ahead and play the Silver Talon Adjudicator, I think. Oh, this is Prophesize to draw a card. That's pretty good. Oh, this is actually kind of funny. Do I want to use this Runebind to gain 5? So, yeah, I think I do. So I'm going to Runebind my Silver Talon Adjudicator here. And then I'm going to Guidance and draw a resource. So Guidance Fate Weaves, which lets me choose a resource or non-resource to stack on top of my deck. And then I get to redraw it, which then replays this. So I get to gain 5 life. So we're back up to a pretty healthy 15 here. Yeah, opponent's deck is kind of neat. Psychic Ascension might be a little bit too late, Ace, honestly. I don't think I'm actually Ascending next turn, speaking of. Gladiator 2, sure. Please let me block with this. How many actions? 1, 2, 3. They're up to 5 actions in there. Yeah, I think I'm pretty obligated to trade here. What's the win counter deck? Psychic Ascension is the primary win conditioner deck. So Psychic Ascension changes our champion into... That's unfortunate that I drew that after I blocked their Phoenix. Am I supposed to play this just to block this? I'm going to Oracle Song first and see what we had since we have 8 resources. I'm going to stack a non-resource on top first here. Darkheart is fantastic. So Darkheart says every time my opponent, at the start of each player's turn, they have to sacrifice a non-socketed card they control. And none of their cards have sockets, so they're just going to have to sacrifice something every turn. This one we're going to grab a resource on. Yes, we're basically playing blue-white control versus mono-red. And that's a great draw because it buffers our life total score. Is that the 4th bird? That is the 4th bird. So we've gained 15 this game, but we're going to gain another 5. It's kind of great. Oh, right. Yeah, good call. Because it gained Gladiator from this. So we've gained... Oh, yeah, we've gained 20, right? Because we cast this one twice. I forgot about that. We double birded, yep. So that Runic Missile means that they can bring their Phoenix back this turn. Are we actually dead? I think we might be dead. Yep, actually dead. Rough. Gained 20, still died. Opponent's deck's a really interesting collection of cards. Seems exceptionally good against what we're doing. Clash of... Is this bad? It's probably bad. Verdict of the Ancient King seems fine. Diamond Favor is good because it gets rid of Constants. Eldurathan's Glory, I don't know if it's good or not. Into the Unknown seems pretty terrible. I think I want a couple more just like interrupts on the counterspells. Oh yeah, Totem Trap seems great. I think Clash of Steel is too awkward to be worth playing. Morning Snared. Wherever you're at in the world. Yeah, I think this is okay. I'm going to bring in a couple of verdicts to interrupt non-troop cards. Bring in Diamond's Favor and a Weave. No, this is definitely what we're playing. It's almost certainly a control deck. Silver Talon Adjudicator is just everything we want to be doing. We have Totem Trap to interact with their first early troop. Non-resource top of my deck. I've got 3 more resources in my hand. Alright, there's the Arena regular. I think I want to just Lanupaw Sight this turn. I could hold up the Totem Trap for this when it attacks, but getting that and being resource efficient seems reasonable. So, the deck that we're playing is definitely a tier 1 deck in the current constructed format, but again, control decks kind of rely on having their answers line up well against what the opponents are doing, and opponents playing a rogue deck here, so it's lining up particularly well against what we have going on, so sometimes you're just going to like not have your answers line up well. They're not a storm deck, that's why. Gain 5, play a bird. In general, you don't want to Into the Unknown dual faction cards. Opponent's deck is really neat. We might play our opponent's deck after this match. God, we are so dead. Holy crap. And so one of the neat things, if you're one of the Magic players hanging out from my earlier stream, Hex gives us 100% of the data that's played on the ranked ladder. So as soon as this match finishes, I'm going to be able to pull up a website and go and look and see card for card exactly what my opponent played in this match. They're 1, 2, 3, so they're 2 actions off. It's a Swamp Gas. It's another Swamp Gas. Alright. I get it. We're pretty dead. We're gonna Totem Trap one of these, but we're still not in a good spot. We'll play one more match with the control deck after this, but then I think we're gonna pull up our opponent's list and build it. Yep, actually just did. Alright, let's play one more with the control deck here, and then I'm going to go grab my opponent's deck list off of PvP Tools now. So here's my opponent's deck list if anyone else wants to see it. Seems really sweet. Pretty reasonable hand here. Only 2 resources, but this Diamond Ice Fate Weave, so it's going to guarantee we hit 3 on time. And then hopefully we'll draw, you know, a Focus or a Guidance or just another resource to be able to appear. I can make my deck list a little bit larger, can't I? So opponent's playing Bishop Elijah, which is a Diamond champion that returns a troop with cost 2 or less from their crypt to their hand. They just played a Ruby Shard, so Diamond Ruby Ardent most likely. Yeah, Clash is generally pretty good. Unless they're the lower to the ground ones. Some of these decks are playing like Scapegoats and stuff, and then Clash is less good against that style of deck. Also, for the Magic players in the audience, this is just great. That's unreal. What year is it is right? Huh, you know? Maybe I'm supposed to have transmogged this. This is every time they play an Ardent Troop to create a random wine, which is actually pretty good against our control deck. Oop, this is a mistake. I could turn this into a speed troop. I should wait till they declare attackers. Did not get punished, but still. There's a Guidance. Guarantee our 4th resource. Guidance. Yeah, that's fine. Alright, so play this out. Huh. Adjudicator, again, touch awkward because our high starting life total, and they've only hit us for 1, meaning this doesn't do anything right now. GP&D is not a Gen Con, no. We're going to weave this into nothing. Them making wines actually makes our Silver Talon Adjudicator a lot better. Put a non-resource on top of my deck. If you want to play without Runebind, I would recommend looking into the version of Sapphire Diamond I played last season. Runebind does make this deck significantly better, though. It's very powerful with Darkheart and Clash of Steel. Very, very powerful. So if I Runebind this, I'll go down to 4 cards. I'll go up to 5, down to 4, down to 3. Up to 6, down to 5, down to 4. Alright, yeah, I can still draw cards even without having played this. Now I get to draw. I don't gain life with this, but I get to draw 2. Sign me up. Yeah, at this point, I'm going to go ahead and Transmogrifade this so they stop generating wines, I think. What does this do? It says puts a troop that costs 3 or less encryption to play. When the card you control leaves play, put this into your deck. Okay, so this, what does this do? Okay, so if I, into the unknown, this Mordrum, this Ardent Crusader is going to go. That's gross. Wow, that was a good line from the opponent. So they... Huh. Huh. I'm just playing Darkheart out. I'm just going to play Darkheart out. This makes him sacrifice a non-socketed card every turn. And we have Runebind to protect the Darkheart. So they just like have an invincible Crusader. That's a sacrifice as Adjudicator anyway, so might as well block. I'm going to Runebind this because otherwise they get a trigger off of it when they play the Valor. No, I don't think we really care about the Glory with the Clash of Steel in our hand. We know 2 of the cards in my opponent's hand right now are wine. So Clash of Steel says we each pick a card and then sacrifice all other cards we control. And your Transmogrifade for this Dorko. So they get a non-socketed card here. So they're going to have to sacrifice this card in their turn. This deck kind of devours these mid-range aggro decks. Well, that's just nasty, my opponent said. Yep, Darkheart plus Clash is real good. You have a 3rd Clash on the board for decks like this where it's exceptionally powerful. And my opponent has more cards in hand than me still, so let's play the Silver Talon Adjudicator out to draw 2. Guidance, guarantee our 7th resource for next turn. Attack for 4. Opponent finds a way to answer this dark art. We have another dark art now. Sure. Opponent plays a non. Okay, interesting. So we're going to sacrifice this Adjudicator. And then I want to attack with this before I play the second Dark Heart, because they're not going to block right now because they want to keep a troop in play. Yeah. And then when I play the second Dark Heart, they're going to lose both of their troops anyways. But if I play this Dark Heart pre-combat, they're going to chump block because they know they're losing both their troops anyways. So we take 2 from this to play this, but that's fine. So 2 Dark Hearts means on their turn they've sacrificed 2 non-socketed cards, which is both of their things in play. This game's probably a wrap at this point, unless they have like 2 Laskar's Vengeance in their hand. Alright, so I like to trim a Psychic Ascension in this matchup. Clash of Steel is excellent. Totem Trap is reasonable. Weave into Nothing's kinda medium. I think I could trim 1 into the Unknown as well. What do we think of this configuration? Is this a Dread End matchup? This might be a Dread End matchup. It reverts all troops and turns them into Dreadlings. Maybe Into the Unknown is... I don't know if I love Into the Unknown. German Adjudicator? I don't know. They have so many Valors, they tend to keep their hand full of cards, and gaining life is good. Yeah, I'm determined. No, let's cut a sight. We don't need 3 sights in this matchup, I don't think. Let's do this. I don't like to cut all of the PAs because sometimes our opponent can try and run us out of threat posts board. What is the Robomancer for? Yeah, you put mill and action creation on it against other control decks. Especially the mirror. It's fine, Burgle. We've played Mad Robomancer before. The card has seen plenty of play. Is this a keep? I have Arcane Focus. Burgle's going to tell me this isn't a keep. I'm going to keep it anyways. If I die a horrible death, I understand and you are correct, but, you know, maybe I'm lucky. Maybe I'm lucky. Watch Focus be 2 resources, just like reminding us how much worse this card is than fucking... This card is so much worse than Guidance! Holy crap! On the list of cards that are just, like, so much worse than Guidance. Totem Trap was an excellent draw there. It gives us something to do while I play our Slow Shard. Yellow Hat with the host. Thank you very much. Welcome to folks coming over from the C stream. We're currently playing some Hex Shards of Fate, which is a fully digital TCG. Very similar to Magic. They have regular tournaments that you can play in for cash from your home for a entry fee. And it's really complex and deep gameplay that I enjoy. I actually tried that, cousin, like a base Sapphire Diamond with just a splash for Violet's Crest, and it wasn't fantastic, so I didn't stick to it, but I definitely tried it. Oh right, they could just get that back with their champion power. Awkward. Hello, Jacob Jeffrey. Scale of 1 to dead, sliding towards the dead side of the scale here. Silver Talon Adjudicator is decent. Do you want to play this, or do you just want to play Clash of Steel this turn? I think I want to just Clash this turn. Yeah, I want to just Clash. So this card gives them a Valor every time an Ardent Troop hits us. So I think they're probably... Actually, I'm not sure which one they're going to keep. Another Crusader, that's fine. These Fate Weave when they come into play. Yep. This doesn't void anything. When this comes into play, it voids troops with defense 3 or less, which my opponent does not have any of. I could just play it as a 5/5, but that seems mediocre. So this bird draws a card when we play it. Transmogrifade's a great draw because it's going to turn my opponent's Crusaders into something likely worse. So let's go ahead and play this. We draw a card when we play it, and then we draw 2 cards because my opponent has more cards in hand than we do. And we gain 5 life. So yeah, so this gets to chump block something this turn, and I get to Transmogrifade the other one, so probably doing okay now, especially with this Dark Heart draw. Deals damage to me for every card in my hand. Yep. Just clean 6 ball. Yep. I'm going to Transmogrifade this before they declare attackers, because if it turns into a non-troop, I don't want them to get an assault trigger. I'm going to jump here, and then next turn we'll play this Glory and just void this, and then hopefully we can trade Glories for their Ardent Crusader. Play this out, draw a card because it's prophesized. It's another Transmog. Alright, Transmog this one. Hopefully get something that Glory voids. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Dismantling my opponent. We are still at 13 and we have an Adjudicator. Oh, geez. So this is a constant that exiles one of my troops until this leaves play. I get to play this Dark Card of Nulzann out and then probably make them sacrifice that. To be fair, we were sliding towards dead and you know it. Oh, do you not want pretzels? Do you want Cheerios? You want Cheerios? You want these? Yep. Where did your brother go? I always worry when I can't see the toddler. Yeah, Trash Beat's very good. Ruby's Favor is also reasonable. I think Ruby's Favor is fine. So we have to sacrifice our Glory here. What if they have a removal spell for this? Start by attacking, see what they do. Jumping, sure. Alright, so Lanupaw's Sight. Oh, I always do this backwards, too. You should always play your Ice before you play the Sight, because now I've likely prophesied, or Fate Weaved a non-prophesized card to the top of my deck, so my Lanupaw's Sight draws are going to be delayed. Playing TCGs is easier when you're not a big dumb stupid. Literally every time. You're not wrong. Yay! Things that didn't matter. Alright, let's